Welcome to the Zotero tutorial. We're going to start with theoretical aspect of writing a document. So before starting writing a document, a scientific document, you have to understand what a bibliography is. So a bibliography is, first of all, a way of making a distinction between what is your idea and what is somebody else's idea, which idea is yours and which is somebody else's, belongs to somebody else. For example, this is a paper of mine, doesn't matter. So you start reading a paragraph of any given paper. Take a scientific paper and start reading a paragraph. Take the first phrase. You have to be able to understand from each phrase whether this is an idea advanced by the author of the paper or whether it is an idea that he has or she has found somewhere else. So if you don't want to be accused of plagiarism, you have to make explicitly known that this idea or that belongs to somebody else. In order to do that, you have to say, okay, blah, blah, blah. And for example, one way of doing it is by saying, for example, however, this person pointed out to the fact that. Or you can say, the planet, the Earth is round, and in parentheses say Galileo's, whenever he said that. The second aspect of bibliography is that it is a way for the reader to find the original document that you as a writer have used and to extract an idea. So when I say a few years later, Baudin de Courtenay, etc., so the reader, when he says that, he has to be able to have access to this particular reference. By saying access, I mean he has to be able to find the data that will allow him or her to find the original paper or book or work. So Baudin de Courtenay, so I have to give, for example, the author, the year, the title, and everything in my bibliography has to be obvious. For example, if I don't speak French and I see this reference in a paper, I have to be able to understand which information is the journal name, which is the publisher, which is the city of publication, etc. So it has to be explicit all the time. So this is what Zotero helps you with. Very often I meet young researchers that think that the formatting of the bibliography is just a minor detail, and it's always the content of the paper that counts. However, as I just said, if I cannot understand, and it happens quite often, if I cannot understand what a piece of information stands for, Harper and Row, I'm not familiar with the publisher, so I have to be able, as a reader, to understand that this is the publisher, so I can search this reference at a specific database, etc. And then, although we think that instead of, you can see here that every time after the date, so the year, we've got a full stop, and one can say, okay, if I make a mistake and I put a full stop here and a comma there, it doesn't matter. Well, the thing is, if you take this bibliography, you just copy and paste it in Microsoft Word and save it as an RTF file, you can scan the file and retrieve all of this and put it in your database. But if the format is not always the same, if the stop becomes a comma, the comma becomes a stop, the computer is not able to parse, that means to separate pieces of information, and the computer is not going to understand what information stands for what. So everything has to follow a specific format. So this is just a tiny introduction.